Mi-8s had completed a flight of nearly 2 hours, carrying over 60 troops and their kit away from the front. On touchdown, they were driven straight into the technical area for routine maintenance and refueling. On the ramp, the mood was relaxed. Officers sloughed off flight suits and gloves, laughed aloud, poured a few plastic cups of vodka, and toasted a flawless sortie. They did not know that the flight they treated as routine was the breadcrumb that would give Ukraine the base's exact coordinates. Like the sugar cube and the ant game, Ukraine needed one sugar cube to lure the ant home, then burn the whole nest. At 3:20 a.m., minutes after the two Mi-8s landed, screens at the Gur command center in Zaporizhzhia began to flash. Commercial infrared satellite imagery had captured the heat signature on the ramp where aircraft engines were still glowing hot. A Bayraktar TB2, RQ antennas capable of detecting low observable aircraft and tracking hundreds of targets at once. Human intelligence reported hundreds of tons of fuel and ammunition in the hangars and storage yards, enough to sustain continuous air operations, prolong pressure on Ukraine's defenses, and keep lines of supply open. If the base were neutralized, the enemy would lose a critical node. A strategic blind spot would open. Early warning capability would be degraded. The logistics chain would fracture. Air defense effectiveness would fall, and pathways would open for follow-on Ukrainian strikes. The Ghost Special Task Unit moved at once. They escalated from surveillance to a 3-layered strike plan. A UAV formation that had been covertly deployed for nearly 2 hours received the order to change course and enter the final corridor. At 3:25 a.m., the formation was now less than 25 miles from the target. Leading were two UJ-22 airborne decoy UAVs flying at 985 feet with a cruise speed of about 100 miles per hour. They were unarmed. Their sole job was to emit strong signals and jam the 2.4 gigahertz and 5.8 gigahertz bands. With carbon fiber skins and larger than normal airframes, they did not hide from the enemy radar. They were built to be the first airbase in Crimea. Coordinates had been confirmed less than 5 minutes earlier. From launch, the formation sent no control traffic on open bands. Every move matched the rehearsal script to the second. At 3:27 a.m., the two UJ-22 decoys penetrated the first air defense recognition zone. A Podlet K-1 station more than 12.5 miles from the airfield began to pick up anomalous contacts in the mid-altitude layer. Warning indicators started flashing. Radar operators increased scan frequency. The Nebo-U switched to active mode. High-frequency cones began sweeping in widening arcs. The UJ-22 signatures sharpened. On the Podlet K-1 control display, two unknown targets appeared repeatedly at 900 to 1,000 feet altitude, about 11.5 miles from the airfield, closing fast. Unknown response code. The alert station's initial assessment, a loitering or reconnaissance kamikaze UAV preparing to strike. The local air defense commander ordered Condition 1 immediately. The Nebo-U turned hard and switched to high-rate scanning. A Pantsir S-1 battery on the airfield's eastern perimeter went live. Two 57 E6 rounds were launched at once. It took 14 seconds to intercept. Two flashes lit the sky. Fireballs bloomed. UAV wreckage hit open ground less than 1,650 feet from the airfield fence. A duty officer in the command cabin reported, "Clear, both neutralized." Air defenses dropped to temporary alert level. Podlet reverted to routine patrol mode. Nebo-U kept sweeping but throttled back scan frequency on the southeast axis. None of them knew the real phase of the operation had only just begun. At 3 speeds, the formation would reach the target in under 5 minutes. From this point, every flight control input exploited beam rotation timing and the Pantsir S-1 reaction lag after engaging the decoys. 33 minutes and 45 seconds a.m. Nebo-U registered a faint return at ultra-low altitude. A dim heat band appeared on the screen edge. The sector coordinator warned, "Low-level contact, accelerating." Alert Level 2 triggered too late. Inside the control center, Ukrainian engineers armed the final dive mode. Automatic terminal dives locked to the pre-designated aim points. Target, the Mi-8 cluster on the west ramp, still exposed. Liu-2 peeled off the formation, banked 15 degrees left, and locked on the Nebo-U antenna. Thermal data showed the 45-foot antenna array rotating slowly with no intercept vector declared. Liu-3 held course and locked on the two B-12s parked side by side at the east ramp near maintenance and refueling trucks. Behind those objective nodes lay an expeditionary fuel dump with over 1,100,000 pounds of aviation fuel and distributed ammunition caches laid out for dispersed operations. Countdown: 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. The blast. The clock read 3:35, then detonated into a fireball over 330 feet high that lit the entire base instantly. The shaped charge blast and the Mi-8's secondary explosion cooked the surrounding fuel drums. Peak overpressure exceeded 50 pounds per square inch. The blast propagated into Mi-8 No. 2, parked 15 feet away. Both Mi-8s were shredded, fuselage sections ripped apart. Rotor blades flew more than 230 feet, landing on an adjacent hangar roof. A refuel truck was hurled away. Fires spread violently. 0.8 seconds later, Liu-3 struck the right-hand B-12. The B-12's airframe tore open. Debris punctured the auxiliary fuel bunker. The second B-12 ignited in the ensuing chain explosion. Flames leapt from wing to fuselage and into the maintenance bay. At 3:35 minutes and 27 a.m., Liu-2, with surgical precision, drove straight into the Nebo-U main antenna array. A dry, violent detonation ripped the night apart. Russia's eye was neutralized. The radar collapsed into a burning heap of twisted metal. The concussion echoed across a radius greater than 12.5 miles. Locals later said they thought an earthquake struck. Warehouse windows inside 1,970 feet shattered. The ramp became a torch. The covert airbase turned into an inferno. Commercial IR satellites showed a thermal bloom over 1,320 feet at the Crimea command site. At 3:36 minutes a.m., Russia's UHF net sent its last message. Base under attack. Radar damaged, aircraft damaged, requesting immediate assistance. Then silence. In under 7 minutes, the strategic air base in Crimea lost all defensive and air control capability and burned out. From radar to the Mi-8 cluster, the entire west ramp was incinerated. Fires climbed high. Black smoke trailed for hundreds of meters. Blast pressure extended into warehouses nearly 1,970 feet away. Within 2 minutes of the impacts, at least 7 secondary detonations occurred. Fuel burns and pool fires. Serial detonations in B-12 munitions bunkers. A backup command vehicle destroyed by blast overpressure. At 4:15 a.m., commercial IR satellites logged a high-intensity hotspot in West Crimea with a luminous area exceeding 350 square meters. Telegram clips from Jankoy residents circulated showing large night fires, hot metal fragments raining on roofs, and military police sealing the scene. Maxar imagery on the morning of 21st September showed the damage plainly. 3 Mi-8s charred to frames. 1 B-12 mangled beyond recognition. Nebo-U radar collapsed, its antenna broken and inert. Ramp blackened across more than 984 feet. Debris, scorch marks, and smoke plumes visible from orbit. Estimated damage exceeded $180 million. The base lost 100% of its helicopter lift, its primary early warning radar, expeditionary fuel stocks, and ammunition. Logistical operations halted. Strategic effect for Ukraine, decisive. This base was not a generic staging strip. It was one of the few remaining expeditionary airfields in central Crimea. Russia used it to redeploy attack helicopters, operate B-12 maritime patrols, and run resupply flights to forward hubs in Kherson and Jankoy, critical nodes in the operational logistics chain. With the base neutralized, Moscow must rework southern logistics. Cargo flights will reroute further away. Transit times increase, detectability rises. Jankoy's air defense radar no longer has compensating coverage, creating a 90-kilometer blind sector to the west that Ukraine can exploit in follow-on operations. Ukraine forced Russian defenses to move, disperse, and reveal gaps. Each such response creates new targeting options for GUR and Ukraine's UAV forces. Moscow's Ministry of Defense remained silent for hours. Telegram channels posted vague lines.
A technical fire occurred in Crimea, cause under investigation.
OSINT analysts quickly verified coordinates with thermal imagery. The struck area was exposed in before and after mosaics. The once hidden base coordinates were now fully revealed. Operation Ghost was not merely a UAV strike, it was a preemptive, punitive blow that shattered a key defensive node in Crimea. The Nebo-U's removal erased early warning on the northwest axis of the peninsula. The Mi-8 lift cluster used for troop redeployments and fast assault was knocked out. The B-12 maritime reconnaissance capability was degraded. Fuel and ammunition caches were destroyed, grounding Jankoy air activity for 48 hours.